Alkaline is one of the most legendary artists to ever come out of the Caribbean and has reached heights that most artists can only dream of. However, there was one year in particular that changed everything for Alkaline and the dancehall community as a whole. In 2016, Alkaline went on arguably the most generational run dancehall had ever seen.
2016, everything in life just takes time.
Only comparable to the likes of his predecessor, Vybz Kartel himself. But the craziest part is, he actually predicted this from years before, because from the very birth of his career, he warned everybody that something was coming in 2016. But from he was just fresh out of Arden High, how could he have possibly known that 2016 would have been such a massive year? Was this all part of a master plan? Well, to answer this question, we have to take it all the way back to Valentine's Day of 2014, where a full year after he came on the scene, Alkaline released his song Move Mountains, where he randomly said at the start of the song,
2016.
Nobody knew what it meant, but it was a trend that he would continue in his next song, FU, which is the song where he sung about the infamous Batty Wash.
2016.
As he continued to drop songs throughout 2014 and make a name for himself, he would keep making reference to the year, and whatever he was predicting seemed more and more likely to be bigger, because with every song he dropped, the numbers just kept on increasing. And with songs like Live Life, Shake Up, How It Feel, and the massive cultural icon Where We Are Go Do, Alkaline went from just some up-and-coming kid in the game who was known for tattooing his eyeballs to one of dancehall's biggest new players. However, alongside this, one of the factors that caused Alkaline's popularity to skyrocket was his bubbling rivalry with the legend himself, Vybz Kartel. Started because when Alkaline was asked in an interview if he takes inspiration from Vybz Kartel, he declined this across the board. People took massive offense to this, and with the fans talking, it wasn't long before this reached the attention of the Gaza man himself. And on October 29, just 7 days after the release of Alkaline's massive song Where We Are Go Do, Vybz Kartel released Box Lunch, which is known by many to be the first official shot in the war.
Box your down quicker than a box lunch and punch up your face quicker than a fruit punch.
Although he did not directly call Alkaline by name, with so many references to school in the lyrics and many other things that would mostly apply to Earl and Bartley, it was quite clear that that's who he was talking about. And Alkaline did not take this challenge lightly, because on the very same day, he responded with a song of his own on the same rhythm called One in a Dem Ed, where many say the young artist held his own in his newfound battle. But of course, it never ends there, because although they never publicly said each other's names, this would intensify the flames of Alkaline's feud with the Gaza camp to a level that he may not have been prepared for. Because just 2 months after this, in December of 2014, Alkaline was on a plane to Trinidad, and another artist happened to be on the plane. Proud Portmore Empire member Tommy Lee Sparta. Tommy Lee says that he was in the same vicinity as Alkaline before they went on the plane, and out of nowhere, Alkaline started playing the song One in a Dem Ed, which is the same song that he used to diss Kartel. Accepting what he saw as a challenge, Tommy Lee decided that he was going to put Alka's badness to the test, and when they went on the plane, Alkaline sat in one of the corner seats by the window. So Tommy Lee purposely sat in the same row as Alkaline at the end of the row, just to see if at any point he would ask to pass by him so that he could use the bathroom. And interestingly enough, for the entire plane ride, Alkaline did not get up once to pass Tommy Lee and use the bathroom.
We are Trinidad in a VIP lounge, just me and my play one tune, but one in a dem all him boy my trouble people. So I say go in a plane, a everyday seat still. I'm just going in a everyday seat. I know him over I can, you know. I'm gonna say, alright, one in a dem I'm gonna see if you use the bathroom today.
So you guys didn't exchange words?
No, sir, I exchange words, man. I want a lady come to take picture with me, say, when we come off my plane, man, you know, and tell me for excuse. But I make him take a picture still, but otherwise, yeah, nah, bandage, you have to just build and wait.
So you, are you saying that if he got up wanting to go to the restroom you would have blocked him?
No, yeah, I wouldn't block him, but you can't just pass me, so you have to wait till the plane land, and you have to wait till me move.
Alkaline, on the other hand, says that he was merely focusing on the many other things he was doing and didn't even give a second thought to the fact that Tommy Lee was at the end of the row.
Alright, talk about an in-flight incident with Tommy Lee.
What incident?
An incident where you were sitting in the same row in an airplane on a flight recently.
Yeah.
And he was sitting at the aisle seat and you were sitting at the window.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't ask him to excuse you to take a pic with a fan or to even use the restroom because you were afraid that he wouldn't allow you. He
watch
said.
Stinger forward up.
Eh?
Stinger forward up, much I be like a hype film thing. That's what I say. But watch ya.
It didn't happen?
Me might then have playing on stage. So John, BBC I link me for a feature.
Yes.
Me have like 15 with him in my email for done by Thursday. That's what I say. Or I'm supposed to go Fort Lauderdale Friday. And all of them things, I need to shoot a video next week. That's what I say. So them things are on my brain. I don't make it all if they write it. That's what I say. In your brain now, you go like I say, Jano, you see them beside the Alkaline in real life. Yo, every day, hold my phone. Take a picture, Instagram, turn up. That's what I say. That's what I show you, say some man just pray like some little kids. That's what I say. Them brain in a matches box. I don't make the bridging. You see me? Because if you really check the statistics of the ratio, them are rugrat to in every category.
But regardless, this only made Alkaline even bigger, as everybody was dying to see war against him, with the fans wanting artists like Massacre, Tommy Lee and Gage to step up to the task of getting Alkaline's head. But regardless, he still continued to cruise off the success of his previous songs, flying to other countries and doing shows and working on other music behind the scenes. But that was until Alkaline would stumble upon a song so big that this would cause a generational impact, a song that is still played to this very day. You see, in March of 2015, Vybz Kartel released one of his most iconic hits, a song called Money Me a Look. And although this song was widely received across the board, Alkaline thought he could do better. And so 2 months later, on May 27, 2015, with a full 7 months after his last music video, Alkaline made a return to the dancehall scene and released the official music video for the song Fleek, on the same rhythm as the Kartel song. And this song absolutely exploded to astronomical levels, becoming one of the most viewed, streamed, and played dancehall songs in all of history. But unlike the previous few months, instead of cruising off the success of this massive hit, Alkaline dropped another song just 2 days later called Things Take Time, which also went on to do incomprehensible numbers. Alkaline was already cementing himself as the biggest newcomer artist of them all, and just when people wondered if he would slow down, he dropped another one of the most iconic dancehall songs to this day, ATM, which still plays almost everywhere in Jamaica regardless of the occasion. And just 5 days later, he dropped another one of the most iconic songs that many people grew up knowing the lyrics for, Ride On Me, featuring American rapper Sean Kingston. Ending off 2015, Alkaline had just had arguably the best year of his life, and certainly the best year of his career. He had started the year as the crazy kid who was willing to tattoo his eyeballs, risking blindness for clout, and ended it as the frontrunner of the new generation. But even after all this success, he still had absolutely no idea the insane chain of events that were about to come his direction. Or maybe he did know, because after all, he had been predicting it from the beginning. After the release of his hit songs ending off the year, Alkaline was relatively quiet in the music scene. With 2016 approaching and Alkaline laying back in the shadows, many fans were on the edge of their seats wondering exactly what he was going to do. And that's when one day, out of absolutely nowhere, after having said nothing for an extended period of time, he broke his silence with arguably one of the biggest plot twists this country has ever seen. On Sunday, December 20, 2015, fans logged on to Instagram to see a brand new picture from Alkaline with no text, no caption, and no context of him just standing up and lighting a spliff. Except in this picture, something was different. He had eyeballs that were perfectly normal. It was revealed that after this entire time, for the past 2 whole years that they had known Alkaline, his eye tattoos were fake, and the internet imploded on itself as everybody realized they had been deceived. And just to elaborate exactly how shocking this was, keep in mind that this man did not just start his career normally and then tattoo his eyeballs in the middle of his career. No, he literally got his very first exposure to the public on stage because of his eyeballs, which means that since the very first day they had ever seen him in their lives, nobody in the entire dancehall fandom had ever seen Alkaline before his eyeball tattoos. Their only image of him from the start was with black eyes, and so seeing him for the first time with normal colored eyeballs looking into the camera felt like your mind was being warped. It's like finding out after all this time that The Rock actually looks like this, and since you were a kid, he was just wearing a bodysuit or something. But between all the backlash, many people simply applauded him for his intelligence in using this plan to garner him attention, and they were right to do so, because trust and believe this was just the start of the master plan. Just 2 months into 2016, Alkaline released his first music video of the year, Champion Boy, which was the lead single for his up-and-coming album, New Level Unlocked. And it was with the release of this album that Alkaline would set the standard that he was going to be dominating the rest of the year. Once the album dropped, his fans finally understood why he had been focusing so much on 2016, because the songs that were on it were so objectively great that almost every single song on the album went on to become a hit in some kind of way. His fans flocked to the album so much that it literally broke records, became the first album of any dancehall artist to receive a #1 on the Billboard reggae charts, and stood on the charts for all of 18 weeks straight, which still to this day is an achievement that has not been topped. Hence why New Level Unlocked is considered by many dancehall fans to be one of the greatest dancehall albums of all time. With all eyes on him, no pun intended, due to the success of his new album, the hit songs he had from 2015 like Fleek and ATM proceeded to grow even bigger alongside the new songs. And so this man literally had 2 whole years worth of discography running the airwaves at the same time. At this point, Alkaline would have seen more success in the last few months than most artists would see in their entire career. However, he didn't stop there. In fact, his year was only just beginning. Just a few months after the release of this record-breaking album, Alkaline was already ready to get back on the scene with new music. But these weren't just any regular old songs he was about to drop. He had no idea that he was about to literally change the culture. And in June of 2016, not only did he release the music video for Company, but just 2 weeks later, he also dropped the song, Formula.
I just released a new song like probably a week now called Formula, you know.
Exactly, mashing up the airwaves.
That's gonna be wavy for the summer, you know.
Definitely gonna be wavy. What is the formula?
I can't tell you.
Seriously, is it like a secret formula?
I can't tell you.
You just can't say what the formula is.
You have to just listen to the song Formula.
Okay.
And then you work out your own formula.
Okay.
But I give you a hint, from your work you have the formula.
And as we know, this song is one of the biggest things Jamaica has ever seen. In all honesty, I still hear this song play at almost every occasion I attend, almost an entire decade later. And just when people thought he had finally reached the peak of his career, he dropped another generational song after all. A song which at this point, I'm sure every Jamaican has probably heard at some point or another in their lives. Alkaline's name had seen nothing but growth, success, and record-breaking numbers, and there was absolutely no sign of it slowing. However, as everybody knows, things can never stay too calm forever. As we discussed before, Alkaline was always an artist fueled by controversy, namely his beefs with other artists. And although he was never really the type to respond too directly or go into any formal clashes, it looked like now that he was at the top of his career, he decided it was finally time to step out onto the battlefield, no matter how many people were on the opposing team. It all started on July 23 when Alkaline dropped the song Block and Delete. It wasn't a diss song, but for whatever reason, Vybz Kartel thought that he would make a response to it on the same rhythm with the song titled Couldn't. In Couldn't, Kartel said the very specific words, "Him a ill treat you, every minute him beat you, on top of that him is a freak will eat you, and when him done, him want delete, which is clearly making reference to Alkaline's song. On top of this, he also said in the song, "I if a bag of virgins from him was a virgin, I go class," which is most likely referencing the fact that Alkaline is associated with being a school student. And if that wasn't crazy enough, he also said, "You're not wrong when you tell him, don't F your bottom. Say, hey boy, bring that to your mom," calling Alkaline a lover of the butt activities, most likely referencing his earlier controversy. Block and Delete and Couldn't were released months apart, but Alkaline was not one to stay quiet in a situation like this, and just a few weeks later clapped back with the song Extra Lesson, a song that many people didn't even know was a diss, but if you pay close attention to the lyrics, it is clearly a response to Couldn't. On the very first lyrics in Extra Lesson, he says, "Dog, you breed the first girl where you ever get. What you talk about?" Making reference to the fact that Kartel was implying on Couldn't that he gets more girls than Alkaline, but in reality, he impregnated his baby mother, Shorty, at a very early point in the relationship. And Alkaline is basically saying that Kartel is so not used to getting vagina that as soon as he finally got the chance, he had to put a baby in there. On top of this, he also said,
"Them and a girl is for real. Let me tell you something, if you never know, idiot boy, are you make she know me? Carrying used to girl and a bad man style or no? Mama la she."
Basically making reference to the fact that in Couldn't, Kartel was playing the role of the guy in the girl's ears saying, "Oh no, Alkaline's not treating you well. He's cussing you out and doing bad things to you. That's so terrible, but I can treat you better."
He manipulated you again? What a manipulative, conniving dictator! What the f is wrong with him? Did you give in? No!
Which Alkaline is responding to an Extra Lesson saying that that is a complete and total waste man style, and you should never try to obtain your way into the draws by carrying bad news to the woman about the guy. He also followed up by saying one of the most disrespectful lines in the entire song, which is, "Girl where you can only imagine for F man they are banging for real." Basically saying that since Kartel at the time was in prison, Alkaline is saying that while Kartel can only use his imagination and back his fist, he on the other hand was drowning in pum pum. He also goes on to say, "Can't even rule him baby mother, I would a bumbleclot you said to me," making allusion to Vybz Kartel and Shorty's relationship issues that ultimately led them to splitting. And finally saying in the song, "Me play this for my fans, play this for the sons, play this for the old boy them who feel like say them young," which again could only be referring to one person. This had the fans going crazy, and the fact that neither Kartel nor Alkaline were ever calling each other's names just made the mystery grow even larger, having everybody dissecting every lyric of every song that they dropped just to see if that song would be included as part of the war. However, around the time of Extra Lesson, Kartel was actually caught up in another war at the time, sending shots at his decade-long rival, Mavado. But since Mavado and Alkaline were actually friends and collaborators, Kartel figured that he would just respond to both of them at the same time. And so, on the song Round Corner, after spending the entire song dissing Mavado by name, saying that he made the quote-unquote gully boy run left cassava piece and that quote-unquote stray dogs will eat his brain for breakfast, he then proceeded to expand his fire to the other artist by saying, "Them shot ya go round corner, run up inna your head, turn your head in a disaster, you dead inna the yard back, fat shot burn him up like semi left sell it on the charger, kill him with the little blind boy, one inna the little blind boy, yai ball, blood inna your eye now." And of course, since Naji Boy wasn't around back then, the only blind boy in dancehall was Alkaline. This was probably the most direct the disses had ever been, and with things escalating at a rapid rate, Alkaline wasted no time clapping back with a response of his own. In response to Round Corner, Alkaline replied with the very famous lyrics, "Boy step out in the war and flap himself, try shoot round corner and end up shot himself," on the very popular song Ricochet. And again, the fans went absolutely insane. With both of the songs running up insane numbers, this was unlike anything they had ever seen before, as this was the first young person they had ever seen who was brave enough to challenge Kartel in such a brazen manner and live to tell a tale about it. Extra Lesson continued to rise in popularity, eventually becoming one of the biggest songs in all of Jamaica to this day, and with the war bringing even more attention to his previously released album and hit songs, Alkaline's 2016 run was literally at its peak, even though the year was almost about to end. But again, it still didn't stop there, because on December 11, the last month of the year, Alkaline released another song called Badness It Name, which on the surface does not appear to take any shots at any specific person, however served as a reminder to the Gaza camp that he is really that guy and you don't want to mess with him. Saying lyrics like, "So the father, so the son did the same, cry for no want but a badness it name," asserting his dominance and saying that he is really at the top of the game, even without calling anyone's name in particular. However, Gaza camp member Tommy Lee Sparta did not take lightly to this, and just 24 hours later responded with a highly targeted diss track toward Alkaline called Darkness Rise, where he said, and I quote, "You still not call me name, I won't make you afraid of me so. Me I go ask your mama how you favor me so," implying that again Alkaline was a copycat, perhaps of Kartel and also himself. But the craziest part of the song was when Tommy Lee said, after all, me not fi contact friends. If at 12 p.m. me wanna attack them ends, a mince beef that me not stop chop them, make it disappear quicker than your contact lens, which makes wordplay of two Alkaline songs and also directly references his fake eye tattoos. However, after that song, Alkaline did not say anything, with half of the fans saying that he was just scared, but the other half referencing what he said about Tommy Lee before in interviews, which is just that Alkaline saw himself as so much bigger than Tommy Lee that he would only be helping give Tommy Lee clout by engaging in this war, and it was not of much benefit to him. He had bigger fish to beef with, like Vybz Kartel himself. With both Kartel and Alkaline mysteriously laying back and going into a quiet state, fans wondered if the war was over. Everybody had just had an amazing year for their career, especially Alkaline, and perhaps the beef was just another short-term part of the seasonal flow of dancehall. Perhaps it wasn't going to go on for any longer than the few tracks we got. However, they seem to have been forgetting that Kartel and Tommy Lee were not the only members of the Gaza camp, and they had absolutely no idea the absolute storm that was coming next. As 2016 wrapped up and came to a close, Alkaline had just put the best year of his entire career behind him. He had broken more records than he thought possible, flown to many foreign countries, had a best-selling album, and probably more hit songs than he could count on his hands from the best year of his life. However, as soon as the year ended, he didn't even get one single day to celebrate that. Because on January 1, 2017, New Year's Day, Popcorn randomly decided to drop a song called Stray Dog. And as they played the song and heard the world famous line, "Go suck your mother, dog," it was clear that he was talking about none other than Alkaline. Popcorn had single-handedly restarted the war that had already settled the dust, a move that at the time he probably thought wise, considering Stray Dog went on to become a hit song. However, just 1 week later, he probably regretted his decision when Alkaline dropped the absolute icon of a track, Microwave. And this song, to this day, is probably the single most disrespectful piece of audio I have ever heard in my life, with a hilarious cover art of a microwave cooking, well, you know, popcorn. This song was so crazy because unlike the previous diss tracks, Alkaline was done playing subliminal games and came straight out the gate calling Popcorn by name, featuring lyrics like,
"Everybody know I be a box and kicky get you shoulda never sing that song. Who me a talk suck pussy flap can well wear no say you're a bad man."
And also lyrics like,
"Anyway me see your pussy me we bust your face show you say I can't style one done. Man we shoot up a car where your man buy gear make your wife left that abandoned."
Making reference to the fact that Drake apparently bought Popcorn a Range Rover. And Alkaline is saying that that is not only groupie behavior on Popcorn's side, but also that he was going to shoot up the car, and went on to further disrespect Popcorn by saying,
"Microwave you a bait, man I make you no straight. You suck out the pussy she put her butt in your face."
Making reference to the fact that people were saying that Popcorn was allegedly a serial eater of the forbidden fruit. This track got so disrespectful that I can't even go through every lyric. And not only did it become a massive hit song despite being an overt diss track, but also is regarded by many of the fans as the best dancehall diss track of all time. And despite the insane reaction, he still did not stop there, with just another week later continuing his onslaught on Popcorn with another song called Death to Microwave, where he went as far as to disrespectfully use a voice note from Popcorn's mother as the intro of the song. Imagine you and a man in a war and him go take your mother and put as the intro for your diss song, bro. Yo, that's crazy. So crazy in fact that it appears that Alkaline may have pushed things a bit too far, and he would possibly come to regret it later. Because even though Popcorn did not seem like he was capable of defending himself after such a brutal onslaught, let's not forget that he had someone on his side who was. And after Alka crossed the line with that last song, Vybz Kartel suddenly emerged from the shadows to remind him of why they called him the king in the first place. Just a few days after Death to Microwave, Vybz Kartel dropped the gruesome song Closed Casket, which to this day is one of the most dark, brutal, and honestly downright disgusting set of lyrics I have probably ever heard in my life. And while before, Kartel had never directly said too much to let people know who he was talking about, like everyone else, he was done playing the subliminal games, because the very first verse on the song says,
"You know them boy, they were big and fool. From them I got school. Never broke a rule, never broke a fight, never burn a split. Snitching at the class, everybody hit. Never a girl till him graduate. Get a little hype, make a little food. Buy a couple tool, get a couple fool. That not make you bad. You're still a nerd. Knock you with the mag."
And then, one of the most gruesome choruses I have ever heard.
"No face no dede, no mouth no dede, no eye no dede, no teeth no dede. Closed casket, closed casket."
Which, for those of you who don't know, a closed casket funeral is one where the body is dismembered so badly that it is too brutal for the family to look at, and so the funeral is held with the casket closed. Kartel is saying that he's going to disfigure Alkaline in such a manner that he cannot be recognized. He then went on to say, "When man did a bust head, I prep him there," referencing the fact that when Vybz Kartel was on the streets being a bad man, Alkaline was still a mere child attending school. And many more brutal, disgusting, and downright gory lyrics that if I were to cover in this video, I might trigger some type of violation in the system. I'm not even joking. This track was so brutal that it led many people to believe that Alkaline simply could not come back with a response. And funnily enough, he never actually replied. So does that mean that he lost the war? Well, if he forfeited, then maybe. But to be very honest, I feel like if someone wants to respond to a song bad enough, they will. Especially when their pride is on the line and there's money to be made. Which leads me to wonder if there were circumstances behind the scenes that led him to maybe just let things go. After all, let's not forget that these aren't exactly innocent people we're dealing with here. But I guess we'll probably never know. But either way, this beef still went down as a core moment in dancehall's culture, and Alkaline's 2016 run continued into his success for 2017, with songs like Fast, Pretty Girl Team, and Impact topping the charts and again still being played to this day. And also his massively successful party called New Rules. Alkaline did something with his career that those who doubted him in the early stages never would have thought even remotely possible. And if you want to learn how Alkaline beat those odds when the entire world was against him and thought he would never be anything, click the video on your screen right now to learn the full story of how Alkaline became Jamaica's most controversial artist. And as always, the dancehall has been decoded.